Greetings, ladies and gents, and welcome to the latest chapter of Ars Magica, taken from the subreddit HFY. All the relevant links are down below, and please like, comment, and subscribe like any good minion of the algorithm would do. And as always, I hope that you enjoy. I would just like to thank the following Tier 5 patrons and channel members for supporting the channel: Fallen Angel, Buzz Kennington, Data Magnet, and Bob the Dragon. Thank you again. And now, on to the story. Chapter 12. So, that really didn't end well for you, did it, Marank? Honda commented, who was sprawled upon the ground. His front paws twitched slightly as he flexed his claws in boredom. No, it did not, Marank hissed, while staring at the orb in front of him in anguish, tail thumping the ground in quick, hard strokes. You know, Honda yawned and stretched his back. You could have just ignored him like I do. That's easy for you to say, Marank turned away from the orb, gesturing wildly. He basically elevated one of yours while destroying one of mine. Isn't that the way of things, though? Aren't monsters meant to be destroyed and animals respected? Honda tilted his head, almost lost in thought. There is literally no difference between us. Honestly, I don't understand why we're two separate beings. Marank stalked over towards his bone-white chair and sat down upon it. Gazing up, he could see the rock give way to bone and meat, leaking blood upon his floor. No matter how much you protest, there is a difference between yours and mine. Yours revel in suffering. Yours ache for blood of mind and pain of being. Mine only exist to live and enrich the lives that they live. Yours experiments in cruelty, while mine are upon the limits of what could. Yeah, I get it, blowhard. Just because we enjoy different things, that automatically means we're different gods. I get it. Marank looked irritated as he rolled his eyes and blinked his slit eyes. He had heard this many times before, after all. I know that you know. I just need to remind myself, lest you win and combine us. Honda looked up, ears splayed out wide, nose twitching. Marank had a blank stare for quite a while, before managing to let slip a grin filled with gleaming, pointed teeth. One of these days, Honda, you and I will become one. That is the day in which the fauna of the world will rejoice and be made anew in our glorious image. Only then will we be whole and complete. I think that we're plenty complete, apart as we are. I would rather not become like Luant. With that, Honda bowed his head in respect, while Marank scoffed. Luant was a miracle, Honda. He became more than the sum of his parts. And now he only exists as part of something I doubt his original intentions were to become. Does that not make him better than what he used to be? Grants and Swelk can only become more with him, you know. His original aspect was better by itself, by complementing those of good or evil. Now he only exists within their minds, while having no control without being given some. At this, Marank did frown. You'd be right there, Honda. If we were to do so, knowing which of us is the stronger will would be the toss of a coin, and I doubt I'd make it through, judging by what they said the pain amounts to. Pain does not do wonders for me, as I'm sure you know. Yes, at least on that we can agree on. Honda looked towards the orb, viewing only darkness and the occasional glowing of his believer. By the way, did you really expect a cave-in to actually succeed in stopping them? Unfortunately, that was my plan B in case the Grendel did not succeed with his new status as a monster priest. I thought maybe it was an enhanced power. Its death would at least trap the newcomer within my domain. Even with it being so new, I'd figured it'd take a while to get out. then had figured out how to cast magic and kill Gretel. Honestly, I cannot see how this could have happened. I was specifically told it had been given a sinner status. Should have sent the monstrous acolyte. At this, Onda looked away in thought towards the orb, before pulling up a screen next to him. He does. It just doesn't seem to be all that effective towards him. Maybe it'll have more of an effect once the newcomer's effect ends. Or it could be that this new species was made with that in mind. Who's to say? At this, Marek looks off, seemingly into nothing, staring hard, willing the stone in front of him to burst into flame, which it soon does. You know, I'm tried figuring out where this, Dave has come from. No god claims to be its maker. That could be a lie, though, for all they're willing to give one such as I. That's why I've invited you here, the deity of beasts. I was wondering if you had brought me to laugh at your attempts. Now that I know why you want to, though, I have to ask, why me in particular? Surely you could pester Judicia to aiding you. You are technically on her side through this. You have certain set of skills that I need. One in particular, that you are naturally born with. Your nose. What would you have me sniff out? You do know that I do not work for free, right? Marek sighed before bringing up his own screen and sliding it over. Ah, that's a fair amount of faith. Are you sure you're able to withstand that much? Yes. Now on to the matter in which I require you. I did some investigating on my own, something that Judicia wouldn't approve of, should she know. I went into her domain and looked upon her judges. I went to the place where the crime was committed, something that she would sweep under the rug from most. I could not find anything that remained, except this. Marek pulled a piece of cloth from out of the air. This, I believe, will let us actually affect Dave, 'cause if I think what's happening is happening. His grim facade slid away into an ear-wide smile. We've got a little insurrection going on. You think that the judge wasn't killed, but hitched a ride. How do you suppose that would happen? Their law is as rigid as the creators. I do not know, but what I do know is if you have a smell you can connect, and possibly remove the judge from Dave's head, and finally make that thing vulnerable. After so long without a potential champion, you want me to get rid of the thing that made it somewhat possible. If you hadn't given me so much, I wouldn't even consider this, you know. With that, Onda began to stalk out of the rocky enclave. One could hear his claws clacking upon the stone, bone and blood, before seeing the blood's residue disappearing off of his form. Why are you leaving? I need you for this. Onda looked back to see Marek glare angrily, standing atop his bone throne. I need time to think. If I decide no, I'll return the faith. Don't worry. With that, he exited the cavern, which was Marek's sanctum, and stepped into the space between domains. Onda had a lot to think about, so he decided to slowly walk towards his domain. While being there was helpful and made him more comfortable, he felt that at least he had to be at least but uncomfortable to think this through. Could you quit it, Naran? Onda stared up into the I mean it, Naran. I'm trying to think up. It's important. This one knows. It's just doing what it's for. Well, if you're here, and I can actually hear you unlike usual, I assume that you're here with some advice to give. Lore is calm. Stagnation is comfortable. But it is not exciting, not new, not helpful. One would suggest letting them go, maybe make case for Judicia. It is weird to hear you have an opinion. Something must be wrong. Not opinion, simply what this one thought you might want to think upon given your proclivities. Also, maybe because what? This one does not think it should tell you specifics, but there's been something that'll occur, something drastic that'll spell the end of faith. The end of faith, you say? Souls will be destroyed completely, and you think Dave is the one to stop that? He is untethered, not a part of the stream of possibilities. Only he maybe change something. Don't worry, Naran. I know it hurts you to talk, or even express your opinions. Just know that whatever it is that'll happen, I'll support them. Silence surrounded Onda as he stared into the sky. The voice of Naran, god of history and talents, could no longer be heard. For Naran immediately was returned to his rightful spot, writing the current events of painstaking detail. Onda, on the other hand, had begun walking back, and as Onda walked up the shining steps and passed through the barrier to Merank's sanctum, his mind could only form a whimper like a pup's. For what he had in mind would require as much cunning as he could conjure, for one doesn't just cheat the master of monsters. He could feel the sanctum's influence press upon him as he returned, its slimy presence clinging to his fur. Merank, I have made up my mind. Whatever it was that Merank was doing on his screen upon his throne was ignored as he tore his gaze towards his guest. Well, what is it? His smile gleamed almost too wide, and one could see the red pooling in his mouth. You could hear the gnashing of his teeth upon his tongue, but it was of no consequence, as the answer drew his attention away from the pain. I'm in. End of chapter. And that, my friends, concludes this video. I hope that you enjoyed, and if you do, please consider supporting the author, even by popping over and leaving a thumbs up or a nice comment, just to show your appreciation for the story. However, if you wish to support this channel, there are links down below which will help immensely. I will see you all in the next one, and until then, I hope that you have a fantastic day. Cheers.